The Galactic Confederation vessel Celestial Harmony drifted helplessly through the vast emptiness of space, its hull scarred by recent asteroid impacts and its vital systems failing one by one. Captain Zixnara, a tall, willowy Arcturian with iridescent scales, paced nervously on the bridge, her antennae twitching with anxiety. "Status report," she barked, her multifaceted eyes scanning the worried faces of her diverse alien crew. First Officer Bloop, a gelatinous Jovian, bubbled apologetically. "Captain, the situation is dire. Our main reactor is offline. Life support is at 12 capacity, and our distress beacon is barely functional. We're losing power to critical systems every cycle." Zixnara's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Any word from Central Command?" Communications Officer Vix, a furry Syrian with large, bat-like ears, shook his head. "Negative, Captain. Our long-range comms are down. We're cut off." The tension on the bridge was palpable. The Celestial Harmony was one of the Confederation's most advanced exploration vessels, crewed by the brightest minds from a dozen different species. But now, stranded in an uncharted sector of space, their superior technology and collective intelligence seemed woefully inadequate. "What about engineering?" Zixnara asked, a hint of desperation creeping into her voice. "Surely they must have some solution." Chief Engineer Krazak, a towering insectoid Thraxian, stepped forward, his exoskeleton clicking nervously. "Captain, I regret to inform you that we've exhausted all conventional repair protocols. The damage is simply too extensive for our current capabilities." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. The crew exchanged gloomy looks, each contemplating their seemingly inevitable fate. It was in this moment of despair that an unexpected voice spoke up. Excuse me, Captain. I might be able to help." All eyes turned to the source of the voice. Standing near the back of the bridge was Sarah Chen, the ship's lone human crew member. She was short and stocky by the standards of most species present, with a round face, dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, and eyes that gleamed with an unsettling intensity. Captain Zixnara blinked in surprise. "Engineer Chen, I wasn't aware you were on the bridge." Sarah stepped forward, her heavy work boots clunking against the metallic floor. "I came up to deliver a report, but that's not important now. I've been listening to the situation, and I think I can fix the reactor." A ripple of disbelief swept through the alien crew. Chief Engineer Krazak's antennae twitched incredulously. "Impossible! Our most advanced repair drones couldn't even approach the reactor core in its current state. The radiation levels are off the charts." Sarah nodded, a grim smile on her face. "That's true for your species, sir. But we humans? Well, we come from a little planet called Earth. You folks call it a death world, right?" The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. Earth's classification as a death world was well known throughout the galaxy. Its high gravity, extreme weather patterns, and dangerous flora and fauna made it a nightmarish hellscape in the eyes of most spacefaring races. The fact that it had produced a sentient species was considered a cosmic joke by many acenobiologists. "What exactly are you proposing, Engineer Chen?" Captain Zixnara asked, her voice a mixture of curiosity and concern. Sarah's eyes lit up with determination. "I can manually realign the reactor core. My species has a higher radiation tolerance than most, and I've got some ideas on how to shield myself further. It'll be risky, but it's our best shot." The bridge erupted in a cacophony of protests and exclamations. The very idea of sending a crew member into such danger was anathema to the Confederation's safety protocols. But as alarms blared and more systems failed, Captain Zixnara realized they were out of options. "Silence," she commanded, and the crew fell quiet. She turned to Sarah, studying the small human with new eyes. "Are you certain you can do this, Engineer Chen?" Sarah nodded firmly. "Yes, Captain. Just give me access to the engineering bay and whatever supplies I need. I'll get it done." What followed was a flurry of activity that left the alien crew in a state of shock and awe. They watched in disbelief as Sarah rigged a radiation suit using materials that should never have worked together. She mixed cleaning chemicals to create makeshift coolants, repurposed kitchen equipment into tools, and at one point used her own hair to create a filter for her breathing apparatus. As Sarah prepared to enter the reactor chamber, Chief Engineer Krazak approached her, his compound eyes wide with a mixture of concern and fascination. "Engineer Chen, I must protest one final time. The odds of survival are—" "With all due respect, sir," Sarah interrupted with a lopsided grin, "where I come from, we eat impossible odds for breakfast." With that, she sealed her makeshift helmet and stepped into the airlock. The next 2 hours were the longest of Captain Zixnara's life. The bridge crew huddled around the engineering feeds, watching in amazement as the lone human navigated the treacherous reactor core. Sarah worked with a speed and intuition that defied their understanding, her small hands moving with incredible precision despite the bulky protective gear. There were moments of heart-stopping danger. At one point, a coolant line ruptured, spraying toxic fluid everywhere. The aliens cried out in horror, certain they had just witnessed the humans' doom. But Sarah emerged from the chemical mist, coughing but unbowed, and continued her work. Just when it seemed the ship's systems were about to fail completely, the reactor hummed to life. Power surged through the celestial harmony, bringing systems back online one by one. As life support stabilized and the emergency lights faded, a cheer went up from every deck. Sarah stumbled out of the reactor room, her jury-rigged suit falling apart and her face streaked with sweat and grime. She managed a weak thumbs up before collapsing into the arms of the waiting medical team. In the days that followed, as the celestial harmony limped back to the nearest Confederation outpost, the story of the human engineer's incredible feat spread like wildfire. The alien crew, once skeptical of their Deathworlder companion, now looked at Sarah with a mixture of respect, awe, and just a touch of fear. Captain Zixnara found Sarah in the medical bay, already arguing with the doctor about when she could return to duty. The captain chittered in amusement, drawing the human's attention. "Engineer Chen," Zixnara began, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "On behalf of the entire crew, I want to thank you for your extraordinary bravery and ingenuity. You've given us all a new appreciation for your species." Sarah blushed, looking almost embarrassed by the praise. "Just doing my job, Captain. Any human would have done the same." As Zixnara left the medical bay, she couldn't help but ponder that last statement. If what Sarah said was true, if her actions were indeed typical of her species, then perhaps it was time for the Galactic Confederation to reassess its understanding of these Deathworlders. One thing was certain: the galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. The tale of Sarah Chen's daring repair of the celestial harmony spread rapidly through the Galactic Confederation. What began as a whispered story among the ship's crew soon became the subject of intense debate in the highest echelons of galactic society. At Starbase Omega, the massive space station serving as the Confederation's headquarters, the Council of Elders convened an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the Grand Chamber, their curiosity piqued by the reports from Captain Zixnara. High Elder Exiloth, a venerable Andromedian with glowing tendrils of bioluminescent flesh, called the session to order. "Esteemed colleagues," his telepathic voice resonated in the minds of all present. "We are here to discuss the recent events aboard the Celestial Harmony and their potential implications for our understanding of the species known as humans." The chamber buzzed with excited chatter. Humans, while known to the Confederation, had always been regarded as a curiosity at best, a potential threat at worst. Their homeworld, Earth, was classified as a Class 13 Deathworld, a designation reserved for planets so inhospitable that the evolution of sapient life was considered a statistical impossibility. Ambassador Krezuk of the Regelian Empire rose to speak, his crystalline body refracting light in dazzling patterns. High Elder, members of the Council, let us not overreact to a single incident. While the actions of this, Sarah Chen, are indeed impressive, they hardly warrant a reevaluation of an entire species. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, but they were quickly silenced as Captain Zixnara herself stepped forward. The Arcturian's presence was unexpected, and all eyes turned to her as she addressed the council. "Esteemed elders," Zixnara began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion, "I stand before you not just as a captain of the Confederation, but as a living witness to the extraordinary capabilities of humanity. What Engineer Chen accomplished aboard my ship defies conventional understanding. She didn't just save our lives. She challenged everything we thought we knew about the limits of biological endurance and ingenuity." As Zixnara recounted the details of Sarah's feat, the council listened in rapt attention. The captain's vivid description of the human's resourcefulness, her ability to function in conditions that would kill most species, and her unwavering determination left many in the chamber visibly shaken. In light of these events, Zixnara concluded, "I formally request that the Council reconsider humanity's status within the Confederation. Their unique abilities could be an invaluable asset to our collective future." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, some supportive, others skeptical, and a few outright hostile to the idea. High Elder Exiloth raised his tendrils, calling for order. "This is indeed a matter that requires careful consideration," the Andromedian mused. "Perhaps it is time we learned more about these humans." Captain Zixnara is Engineer Chen, available to address the council. Before Zixnara could respond, the chamber's main doors slid open with a hiss. All eyes turned to see Sarah Chen herself, striding into the room, still bearing the marks of her ordeal. Her work uniform was crisp and neat, but faint scars from radiation burns were visible on her exposed skin. She walked with a slight limp, yet her eyes burned with the same intensity that had saved the celestial harmony. Sarah approached the center of the chamber, seemingly unfazed by the hundreds of alien eyes scrutinizing her every move. She stood before the council, back straight, chin up, the very picture of human determination. "Honorable members of the council," Sarah began, her voice clear and confident, "I understand you have questions about my actions aboard the Celestial Harmony. I'm here to answer them and to offer a proposition on behalf of humanity." A hushed silence fell over the chamber. Even those most skeptical of humans found themselves leaning forward, eager to hear what this intriguing Deathworlder had to say. Sarah took a deep breath and continued, "What I did on that ship wasn't extraordinary. Not for a human. We come from a world that has shaped us to be adaptable, resilient, and innovative. These aren't just traits of a few individuals. They're the cornerstone of our entire species." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled aliens. "I propose a cultural exchange program. Let humans serve on your ships, work in your stations, and contribute to Confederation projects. In return, open Earth to galactic trade and knowledge exchange. Together, we can push the boundaries of what's possible." The chamber erupted once again, but this time the tone was different. There was excitement, curiosity, and yes, still some fear, but also a growing sense of possibility. The Council of Elders huddled together, engaged in rapid discussion. After what seemed like an eternity, High Elder Exiloth addressed the chamber. "Engineer Chen, your proposal is unprecedented. It will require extensive debate and careful planning. However, in light of recent events, the Council is inclined to explore this possibility." Sarah's face broke into a wide grin, a gesture that caused some of the more skittish species to flinch. "That's all we ask for, a chance to show you what humanity can bring to the galactic community." As the session adjourned, with promises of future talks and preliminary plans for the proposed exchange program. Sarah found herself surrounded by curious alien diplomats. She answered their questions with patience and humor, already beginning the work of bridge building between humanity and the wider galaxy. In the months that followed the historic council meeting, the Galactic Confederation buzzed with activity as the Human Integration Initiative took shape. Sarah Chen found herself at the center of a whirlwind of diplomacy, cultural exchange, and technological collaboration. The Celestial Harmony, now fully repaired and upgraded with a mix of human and alien technology, became the flagship for the new exchange program. Captain Zixnara, with Sarah as her chief engineer, led a series of missions to introduce human crew members to various Confederation worlds. On the lush jungle planet of Verdania, the human ability to navigate dense, predator-filled forests left the local population in awe. In the underground cities of Subterros, human miners introduced revolutionary excavation techniques that had evolved from centuries of terrestrial resource extraction. But it wasn't just humanity's physical capabilities that impressed the galactic community. Human creativity, arts, and philosophy began to spread, challenging long-held alien beliefs and inspiring new forms of expression across the stars. However, not all reactions were positive. On Proxima Centauri's third moon, a human diplomat's handshake nearly caused an interstellar incident with the touch of Verse Proximans. On New Saturn, human consumption of caffeinated beverages led to a galaxy-wide debate on the ethics of performance-enhancing substances. As the program expanded, Earth itself underwent a dramatic transformation. The influx of alien knowledge and technology accelerated human development exponentially. Cities began to reach into the skies, environmental damage was reversed, and diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia were eradicated. 1 year after Sarah's fateful repair job, the Galactic Confederation convened another special session. The Grand Chamber was now a testament to human influence, with holographic displays, ergonomic seating for various species, and even a coffee bar in the corner. High Elder Exilith, looking somewhat frazzled after a year of intense cultural exchange, called the session to order. Esteemed colleagues, he began, his telepathic voice tinged with a mix of excitement and exhaustion. We are here to evaluate the Human Integration Initiative. The chamber filled with a cacophony of voices, each species eager to share their experiences. Ambassador Krezuk, once skeptical, now spoke passionately about human contributions to Regellian crystal architecture. Representatives from a dozen worlds clamored to host the next wave of human exchanges. As the debate raged on, Sarah Chen sat quietly in the gallery, a small smile playing on her lips. Captain Zixnara, seated beside her, leaned in and whispered, "Did you ever imagine it would come to this when you stepped into that reactor core?" Sarah chuckled softly. "Honestly, Captain, at that moment I was just thinking about saving our ship. But this," she gestured at the diverse assembly before them, "this is beyond anything I could have dreamed." Zixnara's antennae twitched in amusement. "You humans have a saying, don't you? Shoot for the moon, and you'll land among the stars. It seems you've done just that." Their conversation was interrupted as High Elder Exiloth called for attention. After much deliberation, he announced, "The Council has reached a decision. In light of their extraordinary contributions and potential, we hereby elevate humanity's status within the Confederation. Earth is now classified as a Class of 1 homeworld, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." The chamber erupted in cheers, the cacophony of alien voices blending with the whoops and hollers of the human delegates. Sarah felt tears welling in her eyes as the magnitude of the moment washed over her. As the celebration continued around them, Captain Zixnara turned to Sarah with a thoughtful expression. "Engineer Chen," she said, her voice soft but clear even amid the din, "when we first met, I saw you as an anomaly, a curious specimen from a death world. But you've shown us that humanity's true strength isn't in your physical endurance or your technological prowess. Oh, Sarah raised an eyebrow. What is it then? Zixnara's multifaceted eyes seemed to sparkle. It's your spirit, your ability to face the unknown with courage, to see challenges as opportunities, to unite diverse groups toward a common goal. You've not only repaired our ship, you've helped repair a galactic society that had grown complacent. Sarah felt a lump form in her throat. She stood, offering her hand to the Arcturian captain in the human gesture of friendship that had become popular across the Confederation. Thank you, Captain. But this isn't just a human achievement. It's a testament to what we can all accomplish when we work together. As Zixnara grasped Sarah's hand, another cheer went up from the assembly. On the main display, a new symbol appeared. Earth, with its swirling blue oceans and green continents, now nestled at the heart of the Galactic Confederation's emblem. In that moment, as species from across the cosmos celebrated together, it was clear that a new era had dawned. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not just as survivors of a death world, but as pioneers of a brighter, more united galactic future.